Welcome back to Agent Content Creators. The guest today is Tim Macy, the famous Tim Macy. This guy has built amazing Facebook groups, amazing communities for agents to collaborate on content, video, and all those fun things. From there, he's done some amazing things. So today we're going to talk about what you should be doing if you're going to be creating a community, how to create a community, and how to leverage that community. Welcome on Tim Macy, the famous Tim Macy out of San Antonio, Texas.
What's up, man? What's going on? It's been a minute since I've been on a stream podcast recording thing. This is fun.
Yeah, well, welcome back to the real world, man,
Yeah.
or the virtual world. So you created this amazing group called RETV on Facebook. You got agents to buy it in, to create content, share their content. Tell us how this came about and what you've seen from it.
Sure. So one of the things I think we realized is and if you're looking at, building community and whatnot, I think you got to look at where there's a need and what you're passionate about. And when we looked at all the different real estate Facebook groups there are for real estate agents, we realized there wasn't really a great one just for real estate video. And all agents and all coaches and all anybody's ever talking about is video, and there weren't any really great Facebook groups around real estate video. The other thing when I think about creating a community, we really started with what we didn't like about the communities that were already out there. So you're going to create a Facebook group, and my question is, what need are you filling? What void in the market is your Facebook group going to fill? And so if you're creating a gardening page for local moms, I mean, is there already a gardening page for local moms? And if there is, then what are the problems with it that you feel like you should create a new one? And for us, I'm sure real estate agents that are in Facebook groups know, we knew that I didn't like the fact that every Facebook group I was in was awkwardly selling something from the side, so it was like, come in, join our Facebook group. Great. We also sell this course and we also recommend this person who sells, like, you could tell that Facebook groups are always selling something. And so that always took away a little bit from the way I enjoyed Facebook groups. So one of the things that we did when we created ours was we were very clear, we're not selling anything, and yet you can't sell anything in here. If you try to sell something in here, we'll boot you. And so we've had it's always fun when the people come in and they're like, "Oh yeah, I love making videos, da 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 da," and then you see like they sell a course and they start DMing people about their course. So we try to get all that crap out of our Facebook group. The other thing is there are posts that get great engagement, right? Like controversial, stupid stuff that just get a million comments, and they are good for growth in a group. But for us, we knew that I don't really like groups that have that. And so we don't allow any drama. We don't allow stupid stuff just for people to argue about. We try to keep it drama free as much as possible. And then moderating that is not always easy, right?
Yeah, it's a
Like,
lot of work.
yeah, and also the judgment call of like, is this person just speaking their mind, or are they being a dick? Like, what is that barometer that you choose for hitting the delete comment and booting somebody out of the group because they just aren't in line with what you're trying to build? All of those things, if done successfully, can create this tribe within a group where kind of the magic happens, right? Where kind of you build these relationships and you have this great community, and you're like, man, why is this Facebook group building such a great tribe and community where others don't? I think a mix of successfully executing all those things is what it takes.
Now, one thing that you probably see since you're in this group and you're constantly collaborating with agents. Look, I was in there posting all my videos and stuff like that, right? Trying to show that, hey, I'm in Austin. I do fun, silly videos too. But one thing you probably see out of there, and the whole goal is to be able to create engagement with people in order to get actual business at the back end of it. So, do you see a lot of sharing of referrals in that group? I mean, that would be a good,
Um,
motivator to be in the group, or is it more of just a collaboration?
Man, it's funny. I do one. I get a ton of referrals. Agent to agent referrals is a big part of our business. We've helped grow our brokerage through all these great communities we've built and relationships built. So all this stuff has done amazing for me financially. Like I've made more money on just building great relationships and building community than I could have ever imagined. But I think intent goes a long way. And so our sole intent when we built this group was to help agents do more video. And I've got like a couple of those, stories that I think about of the people that came into the group, started doing video. Now they're doing better. I think of like Paul Likens, right? Who's a
Mhm.
guy
Yep.
that was just a guy with a camera trying to figure out what to do and now has a pretty successful YouTube channel and gets business from it, right? Like I
Palm Beaches
love,
Paul.
right? Yeah, Palm Beaches Ball, big shout out. Those are my favorite stories, and that is the intent of why we made that group. And when that is the intent, it will grow. If I made that group because I planned on selling a course and then I was going to sell that course down the line after I grew an audience, I just don't think it would have went as well. And so I think your intent matters. Now, do we get a bunch of referrals? Of course. Have I gotten great video ideas that I've been inspired by other people that's generated me business? Of course. Like all the financial things have come from having the intent of simply creating the best place possible for the audience.
So that's really important too, because this is something that I argue with and I fight with other agents on when it comes to YouTube, right? A lot of agents go on there and their sole purpose is to get business from it, right? Just like if you created a Facebook group or you created just a Instagram that was solely a business, you're going to turn people off to you because you're selling them crap. On YouTube, I always give people the advice: come from contribution first, put out content that people are searching for, information that they're wanting, give them information and let them choose if they want to work with you or not. Don't force them to try to work with you because that doesn't work. So, same thing with your Facebook groups and some of the other stuff you've done. You've more built a community for people to learn and engage with, and from that you've seen the reward of good agent to agent collaboration, referrals,
Yeah.
joining your brokerage, all those fun things.
Look, I think there's a lot of opportunity in local Facebook groups, which is funny
Yep.
because I mean, most areas have a local Facebook group. And so initially you would say, well, that ship's kind of sailed and the group's already established. But when I look at a lot of local Facebook groups, a lot of them are awful. Like there's
Yep.
a big opportunity to make better Facebook groups. And the thing is, a lot of the local Facebook groups are run by a agent who has this
Yeah.
big banner. They have this big banner at the top of it, like buy or sell with Jeff Smith and da 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 da. And it's like a local page about the neighborhood. And it obviously the sole intent of that isn't to build community in the neighborhood. And
Right.
so if you go out there to create a group that's just going to get people together more in that neighborhood and keep them more informed, and the sole intent of the group is to bring people in that local neighborhood together and connect them better, make more connections, have people feel more connected to their neighborhood. When that's the intent, you're going to get much better engagement. You're going to get this great community that forms. And from that, of course, you're going to get business, right?
Of
Of
course.
course, you're going to get
Yeah.
business. But the intent really is really important.
Right. So and that's one those local Facebook groups. I started to create one of those, and I think with anything you have to put the time in it, right? YouTube, Instagram,
Yeah.
Facebook, whatever it is, you got to put the time into it. And I just got tired of trying to put the time into it. But there's one that's pretty big now. It's in a moving to Austin group. And that's the best source of, like,
Yeah.
if I'm having creative juice issue and I'm trying to figure out what to do for a video, I just go in there and start popping off some questions like, hey, what's the best place to live in Austin? And you have 1,000 people answer. Or what do you hate about Austin? And I have a whole video about, just basically
Yeah.
taking screenshots of people's comments. Um, Now, so you do this on Facebook, right? Or you've done this, RETV group. So how do you convert that into Instagram or TikTok? How do you turn that and create a community there? What would be your advice for someone
I
saying,
mean,
you know
look, I
what,
think
I'm done with Facebook. I want to create a community on Instagram?
for sure. I mean, I think you could create community anywhere. I mean, you create community on a YouTube channel, right? I mean, I've been on your lives. I've seen the people send you money, right? Because they
Yeah.
love being a part of your audience. Heck, I had the 5 a.m. call where I had a group of people that would get on a phone call at 5 a.m. every morning. I mean, that was a great community. Yeah, I mean, you can create community in all sorts of different ways. As far as something like Instagram goes, I don't think of community building so much on that platform, but I definitely do in on YouTube. I mean, you see what's guys like Mark Rober have done. And I say you because at a smaller scale, obviously, like you've got your little crew of people that follow you and like what you do. But I think the biggest thing, no, and I'm sorry, you could definitely build community on Instagram because my wife buys rugs from her favorite rug person that sells these beautiful Persian rugs on Instagram, and the Instagram stories are going. And like people are talking, people after they buy the rug send her the picture of the rug so she can post it on her account. You know what I mean? Like there's all these different ways where you can build that community on Instagram. Tom Ferry does a great job of it by Q&Aing in the Instagram stories.
Stories. Yeah.
So he'll ask questions all the time. He'll get answers, and then you're tagging and sharing each other's stuff, right? And going that way. I mean, I think there's a lot of ways, but I think the biggest thing, and it sounds cliche, but it's just so important to talk about. I just really think all this stuff goes back to you're on Instagram. If your goal is to help other people on Instagram, right? Like Tom does the Q&A thing. Tom will share something of mine or share something of yours because it helps us because he's got this big audience, right? Like when you authentically just want to figure out how you can help other people on these social platforms, you will do well on the social platforms. When you look at Jeremy's videos, they aren't selling people on anything. He's just looking at his audience wants more information about the Austin market because they're trying to buy a house or thinking about moving to Austin like everybody else in the world is. And all his videos are just focused on helping them, solely focused on helping them. And if you take that approach on these social platforms, I think you start to see some real magical things happen. Like I go to the boxing gym, right? Like I have the gym I go to, and I've got the guy that trains me, and I tag that dude on Instagram all the time because I want him to get more business from my Instagram because I think he does a great job. I think he's great. I also think coming and getting in shape is great for other people. So like I look at it as an opportunity to add value to him and to add value to the guy that owns the gym. And how can I use my social media to help other people is really the goal.
I think that that's really important. So, in any of these communities, you have to be willing to help people for free, right? And get nothing in return
Yeah.
out of it. So, tagging the gym guy like this is the best thing I've ever done was go to this gym, or this is the best. You're helping a food restaurant out, right? During the pandemic, there's a
Yep.
lot of people going and tagging restaurants, and I remember there's a bar here that was struggling. I'd go in there, they had really good food, like trailer, Austin trailer out front. So we'd go in there and tag them and do everything we could to help those businesses. And those people still like comment on all my stuff on Facebook, and I haven't talked to them in a long time. So I think it's really important, no matter what avenue you're doing, come from contribution, like you said, and be willing to do things for free and give people information for free. I think. So, what mistakes do you think people are making when they're trying to grow a community? What are the big mistakes or red flags for somebody trying to
Sure.
create a community?
So, one, just to kind of put a bow on the intent thing, um, I think about my last year or two, moving companies and all that other stuff. because I'd spent the last 4 or 5 years just doing nothing but pouring into agents and figuring out how I could help them out, whether it was doing the 5 a.m. club or RETV or all these other things, never getting a dime. I woke up at 5 a.m. to do motivational calls for 5 minutes every morning, never made a dime on it ever. And that was obviously a big part of my life. Um, when I made the move, or when I ask somebody for some help on something, people are just so excited for the opportunity to be able to give back to me. And so you build that equity through building these communities where people are always looking for the opportunity to help you out because they know you've helped people out so much. And so that's the biggest thing. That's where you really make the money, because people will be looking for the opportunity to give back and help you out and work with you in the future. As far as biggest mistakes go, that's always an interesting one. Um, Probably the biggest mistake is to focus more on growing your community than helping your community. And you see that a lot where on Facebook groups and different stuff, um, they'll be like, "Hey, invite all your friends," right? Like, or "Hey, we're gonna give out this when we hit 10,000 members, so invite a bunch of people." Which I think that 10,000 member number is interesting, because I'm pretty sure that's when you can put a value on a Facebook group and sell it. But instead of trying to grow your community, you just focus on helping that community that you're building, and know that if you do that, it will grow on its own with a better engagement rate and everything else. That's the biggest thing. Look, if you've got 50 people in a Facebook group and it's their favorite Facebook group and they all love it, that's awesome. Like that's 50 engaged people that know and like what you're doing. So
Yeah,
um
and if you're the only realtor in those 50 people, who do you think
yeah.
they're gonna tell all their friends about? Like, create 50 raging fans versus 500 or 5,000 people who still don't know who your name is.
Yeah. So, when we were doing RETV, we had this little crew of us, and we're all just going back and forth, coming up with new ideas, talking about stuff. And then every once in a while, somebody new would come in and they'd be like, "Holy crap, this is awesome. Look at this great thing they've got going on." Whereas if we focus more on growing and not focused on just really hammering in value to the people we had, I don't think we would have had that.
Awesome. Well, cool. What are your parting words for anybody that's trying to create a community?
Um, Figure out where you think there is a need. Where do you think there is a need? And I go back to the neighborhood group. Do you have a great neighborhood group? Like, is your neighborhood group just awesome? Because if it is, by all means, let it be. Or is the local neighborhood group for one of your areas, is it, or the area you live in, is it kind of jumbled up and messy and has a bunch of drama in there, like a lot of them do? Bunch of Karens complaining that somebody didn't bring their trash cans back. Um, if it's that, then there's a opening in the market for you to create a neighborhood community group. And the thing about it is too, is you have to be very clear on rules. So when you build that group and you have your banner page, it should say right on it, uh, you know, no drama, no politics, just Garden Ridge. Like, we're just talking about stuff we've got going on. We're just connecting with people. Like, make the mission statement of your group very clear to your group, and make sure they know that if they're looking to complain about stuff and they're looking for the place to have the drama and go back and forth in the comment section, that there's already a group for that. And it's not this one. And so find the need in the market where you could build better community, and then create it, but just be very clear on why you're different, and I think you'll see some good results.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for joining Agent Content Creators. Make sure you watch this video or this video and do the subscribe thing. That'd be fun. If you have more questions for Tim Macy, you can reach out to him at Tim Macy Realtor on Instagram. He loves to answer questions. We'll catch you on the next video.